Hello again. Welcome to another edition of Crop Life Retail Week. Paul Schrimpf here with Eric Sfiligoj. Get together this week anyway. Next week you're off to greener pastures. We'll talk about that, I guess, at the end.
Sure.
Yes, some interesting news this week. We got word that ProAgrica, a company based in London, who's got quite a wide footprint on the technology side, software side, really in Australia, Europe, South Africa, and other places. They were looking at getting a foothold last year. They attended InfoAg, and we had talked to them quite a bit. So they went ahead and purchased SST to really get themselves a solid foothold in really North America. SST also does work in Brazil and places elsewhere, but really the U.S. is where ProAgrica sees itself growing through SST. While SST will continue to operate independently as an entity, it's a great opportunity for them to take advantage of a solid influx of cash resources so that they can get after, I think, a number of projects that they were looking to really get after, and they see themselves as in a unique place, not really tied to a company like some of the software companies are, more tied to either a manufacturer or the retail side. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with them moving forward. So that was pretty significant news. We'll see again what happens this year.
Well, it's interesting, Paul, because I know SST now. I mean, earlier this year when we were at a trade show, we found out our friends at Jungi Control had actually been sold to AGI. So I mean, here's another instance where old line technology company in the marketplace, long established, owned by the family, actually are looking to expand, and by doing so, are letting themselves be acquired by larger entities.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of software pairings. I mean, I think that's just part and parcel of how this thing is moving forward. You had Granular getting paired off with DowDuPont. We had ZX and BASF, and of course Mapshots has been a long time part of DuPont as well. Companies are affiliating themselves with larger organizations to try to find ways to fit in and have a more consistent, I think, cash flow, more consistent contribution on that front. So it'll be interesting again to see. It probably won't be the last on the software side, but Matt seems real pleased with it and talking to him, and is looking forward to getting SST kind of on the track and moving forward with that investment. So we'll see what happens in 18.
All right. Well, speaking of consolidation, of course, Paul, I know a few weeks ago we heard rumors about the folks at ADM and Bunge possibly merging their operations, and we found out this week that those initial discussions have become advanced talks. So there's lots of speculation that these two companies may end up getting together. It looks like Glencore, which actually put a bid in on Bunge about a year ago, might get involved in a bidding war, possibly. But at the very least, folks say that because of concerns about getting regulatory approval in the U.S. and China, that those two companies, if they do get together, because they're so large, will probably have to have a major fire sale of assets. So look for lots of grain-oriented things perhaps hitting the marketplace for sale here in the next couple of months if this deal goes through.
Yeah, certainly a lot of concern about that on a lot of fronts. From retailers that we talked to. I mean, I think we were at Southern States when we talked a little bit about those folks and with those folks, and it was kind of a really shocking response to that. And farmers I've talked to, I mean, they're always concerned about grain, sourcing grain, and who's in control and how big the entities are that are in control. And I think trust is not at a great level, so this certainly won't help that. But we'll see how that one plays out too.
Yeah, and under the heading of one that's done and heading for greener pastures, if you will, the folks at DowDuPont have informed everyone that they're upping what they're looking to cut in terms of costs by reducing staff, and they originally were looking to cut $3 billion from their bottom line. Now it's going to be $3.3 billion, Paul. And they also announced that originally everybody was speculating that DowDuPont was supposed to be splitting into 3 different companies, one devoted to ag, sometime in 2020, but it looks like they may move that timetable up. They're talking about 14 or 16 months from now, Paul, so perhaps at the end of the first quarter in 2019 we will see a new ag-oriented company that was the combination of DowDuPont.
Interesting developments.
Yes.
You know, that's you think about these entities, and in talking to I was just talking to the folks over at the South Dakota Wheat Growers now that they're Agtegra, and talking to them about some of their monumental challenges they have just merging two cooperatives in a region, and you just start thinking about all the moving parts and the things that are going on with these big companies. It's got to be just absolutely mind-blowing what they need to deal with. So, not surprising.
No. And one other note, we found out, of course, back in court, we've been talking about court lawsuits regarding dicamba for a while now, but found out this week, Paul, that the folks at BASF have decided to file a patent infringement lawsuit against the folks at Willowwood. It seems like the active ingredient that they use in BASF's headline fungicide is something they do not want Willowwood to continue to produce. So we'll have to see what happens with that one.
Okay, interesting. So next week you're off to the National Farm Machinery Show, so look for him in Louisville.
Yeah, me and a couple 100,000 other people looking to see what's new in agricultural equipment at the Louisville Convention Center. And you know, if you want to stay for the weekend, you can take in the tractor pull.
Excellent. And then 2 weeks after that is Commodity Classic. At least you and Matthew Grassi will be attending that along with our sales team, and then you get to go to Anaheim. I'm going to go to Aberdeen, South Dakota, to see a Precision Ag conference there locally. If anybody in the area is going to be there, I look forward to seeing you there. And we're going to kind of talk to those folks about what we're going to be doing with the Precision Ag Accelerator event that we're doing in June. We're planning that the website's going to be up, I think, if not the end of this week, then beginning of next week.
Fingers crossed.
And so you're hearing more about that, and hopefully for Precision Ag managers, that'll be something you want to attend.
Okay.
So that's it for this week. We'll see one of us, I guess, next week in the next edition of Crop Life Retail Week. Thanks for joining us.